What is up, everybody? Welcome back to the HVAC Uncensored Podcast. Hey, guys, thank you for being very patient with me the last couple of weeks, getting through all this studio updates and having to buy new stuff. Thank you. There was no audio podcast last week. If you guys saw the video, the guest ended up getting cut out because of a power outage, so it wouldn't have made sense to listen to the audio. It would have just been weird. But I have a great show for you tonight. We will get to that here in just a second. But the HVAC Uncensored Podcast is brought to you by, guys, my friends over at Yellow Jacket have been here since day one when this podcast started. I absolutely love what they do. As most of you know, I'm a second-generation HVAC tech, 20-plus years in the trade, but I always think back to those days working with my dad that I cherish so much. My dad always said your tools are an extension of yourself. If you buy quality tools and you take care of them, they'll take care of you. Most of the time, you only have to buy them once. Well, that brand I think back to is Yellow Jacket. They've been making quality tools for 70 years and counting, making them right here in the US of A when others have cheaped out and sent them overseas. If you're looking for quality tools you can depend on and get the job done, look no further than our friends over at Yellow Jacket. They've been trusted in my family for generations now, and we don't plan on stopping anytime soon. Guys, remember, 70 years of expertise built into every tool. Guys, for all these, I don't know why this thing keeps shrinking. There we go. Some of their new stuff that they have out, their new vacuum pumps are absolutely amazing, and they are the only ones out with the new dual-port wireless manometer. It is amazing. I will have one here in studio soon, and I will be able to, we'll be able to give that away for a giveaway and all that good stuff. Sorry, this screen's going to bother me. Yes, so check out my friends at Yellow Jacket. Any other tools that you need to get besides Yellow Jacket, don't forget to check out my friends at True Tech Tools and use the discount code Uncensored to save 8% on your order. Last but not least is going to be, sorry, the screen was bothering me, guys, is Company Cam. This is another one that they haven't been with me as long as Yellow Jacket, but I absolutely love Company Cam and what they're doing to help contractors. Guys, the only app every HVAC company needs, Company Cam. Makes it dead simple to communicate, document, problem solve with your technicians. No matter where you are, Company Cam brings documentation, communication, and liability protection together in one simple, easy-to-use app for you and your entire team. Take unlimited photos and videos, share custom reports, create flawless before and afters, even communicate and share progress with property owners with galleries and project timelines, all from your smartphone. Company Cam is the only app every HVAC company needs. You can check them out at companycam.com/HVAC Uncensored. They will give you a free 14-day trial. Free 14 days, cost you nothing, no moolah. If you like it after the 14 days, they will give you 50% off your first 2 months just for being part of HVAC Uncensored Nation. So you bastards can't say I never gave you anything. All right? Guys, check them out. We're in the digital age that sometimes we're going to customers' house, they're not home. We're dealing with landlord-tenant. And sometimes you need to be able to document what you're doing and show that customer, pictures, before and afters, all that kind of stuff. It sets yourself apart from the next company, from the competitor. So just remember that. We talk about that kind of stuff every week, all right? So go check out Company Cam. There will be links in the description. All right, enough paying the bills, guys. Let's get on with this show. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. God bless the United States, and thank you to all those men and women who defend it.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go.
Welcome to the the #1 rated HVAC podcast. If you're looking to grow in the HVAC industry, then you're in the right spot. Blue collar people talking about blue collar shit. Let's get better together. So turn up the volume, buckle your seatbelt, and let's welcome your host, Gil V Jr.
What is up, everybody? Welcome back to the HVAC Uncensored Podcast. As you know, I am your host, Gil V Jr. Guys, we have a great episode tonight. I'm going to get right into it. It's a topic that we all talk about all the time. I see it in the different groups. I've seen it on other podcasts, and is going to be warranty. And guys, today, I want to introduce some fine gentlemen from Trinity Warranty. Mr. Gus and Rich. I'm not even going to try to say your last name, Gus. That's why I said first names. How are we, gentlemen?
Hey, we're doing good, Gil. Glad to be here. Thanks for having us on.
Of course. Thank both of you. Just so you guys know, this was, I thank them so much. They were one of the ones that got canceled when the podcast was down. We had to redo. So these guys have been awesome about working with me to get back on. So I'm so glad that we're all here to do this tonight.
Yeah, I'm glad we can get to this, Gil. So I'm Gus. I'm with Trinity. I work on their marketing side, and I reached out to Gil a little while back, and here we are. And then Rich is on the. Rich, why don't you tell us what you do?
What I do is I work with on the extended warranty side, and I basically work with contractors, with distributors, with OEMs. Spend a lot of time with contractors, basically talking about our product and, seeing how they can incorporate it into their operation.
Yeah. And like we were talking off here, I guess, so we'll go into what Trinity offers, but just the importance of warranty. Like we were talking off air that, sometimes that's the difference between you and your competitor is the kind of warranty that you provide. That's what customers want, that especially when we're getting into the land of high SEER equipment. It's more expensive. The demand is up, but supply is down. Things are more expensive. That peace of mind is huge to customers.
Yeah, and you know what? Sometimes, at least I remember me before I got into the industry, some of us have a predetermined set understanding of what we should or shouldn't do because of our own preferences. So we think, hey, if we don't add warranty, maybe our customers, or if we don't take a warranty, maybe the customer has the same mind. But then the stats is, I was reading an article, bank, I think it was Santander did, and they say that 60% of Americans can't cover a bill from $500 to $1,000. That's 60% of Americans. So, you put in a new system, you finance it, and then 4 years down the road, your compressor goes, and now you gotta dig in your pocket, and it says that the 60% will either get a loan, put it on a credit card, or ask family or friends to cover the amount. So the need is there. The question is now, go ahead, Gil.
No, go ahead, Mr. Ray. I saw you get ready to go, Mr. Ray.
Yeah, I was just going to throw something in. One of the things that consumer electronics has done in the American marketplace is it's made extended warranties very commonplace. If you walk into a big box electronics store or anybody like that, the first thing they tell you when you're checking the equipment, basically paying and saying, okay, that's going to cost you $250. In the same breath, they go, would you like the extended warranty or extended protection plan with that? So people have been conditioned to expect that. And from our metrics, if the product is presented well, 65% of the people buy. If they see the value in the product, and the big box places, they don't even get into the value. They just say, hey, do you want the extended protection plan?
Most people want it. I think the only time you get to is those people like the landlord-tenant situations, which they should care, or it's like the low SEER, the 14 SEER. Hey, I just want the cheap of the cheap. I'm trying to keep the price down. But I still offer those people the warranty. Like, hey, I understand that you can only afford the lowest, but this is still expensive to you, and if it breaks, it's still going to be expensive to fix. So I think it's something that we have to offer regardless. I mean, we talk about it when it comes to service. I won't go down that rabbit hole. But it's offering things to the customer and let them make up their mind. It's the same with warranty. Our job is to offer it to them. If they say they don't want it, that's their decision. Whether we think it's right or wrong, doesn't matter. We did our job. We offered it. Go on from there.
Sure. Two schools of thought on this product, Gil. In many states, let's say you're a contractor and you're putting in a new system and you just want to do what's right by the homeowner, right? You want to make sure that, they're covered when you're building this home comfort solution. You're not going to, the customer is not going to have to worry about, hey, I'm forking over X amount, I'm financing this, and then I'm going to have to dish out a lump sum of money in 3 years, 4 years, 5 years, And as a contractor, trying to be responsible, a lot of the larger guys, what they do is they bake it into the way they do business. It's not an upsell. It's, hey, listen, this is the way I build my product because this is the way I can sleep at night. I know that, in 5 years, if something were to happen, I can come there and take care of it and not have to, take an arm and a leg with me. And that's the mindset. So people take this product and they incorporate it into their brand. So when you put that proposal, or even before you get to the proposal, when you're talking to that homeowner, you're speaking to the fact that, hey, listen, the way I build my home comfort solution is, with the interest of the long term for the homeowner. And this is the way I do it, right? I do it because I do it with a partner, with an extent. I mean, there's a lot of ways to get these products, but I make sure it's part of my install because when it comes down to it, nobody wants to, even the contractor, who wants to deal with a homeowner that you put in a system 3 years ago, and you gotta pull teeth to get what you need to get the labor out of them, right? And that's not a fun conversation to have. Not to mention the reviews you're going to get and the mess that comes with that, right? You work so hard to build a brand for your company as the type of way that you do business, and then you get this. You say manufacturer's warranty, but they hear warranty, and they're like, "Hey, man, I thought I was covered. You said 10 years. I paid a boatload of money for this, and what's this all about?" Right? So it makes you feel bad as a contractor because you're charging, but you got to stay in business too, right? You got to feed your family. So this just makes a well-rounded home comfort install when you incorporate this type of coverage. And some people do it on their own, but the problem with that is the regulations around it, depending on which state you're in, is you got to have a separate account. You have to do there's certain types of math you have to do. You have to have some legal there. It's a whole headache to get this thing set up. And then to your point, we were talking off air. What happens if, you want to retire in 5 years? Or what happens if, you, God forbid, go out of business, right? Like who takes care of the homeowner then, right? They're just, like you said, the taillight warranty.
Yeah.
And, one of the other things, and when I talk to contractors, and I've been in sales a long time and been in the industry, I try to remind them what they're selling. So the extended warranty is really a marketing tool for them. I could tell you, I have contractors that inboard a 3-year product, some inboard a 5-year, some inboard a 10-year. And basically what they're doing is in their respective marketplaces, they're differentiating themselves. And so I'm selling the contractor a marketing tool that's how they're using it. But what they're selling to the homeowner is the peace of mind in their product, as well as Gus mentioned, I'm going to be there for you. So as long as everybody remembers what they're selling, it's easier to have success.
Yeah, I agree. And that's pretty much what we do. Like I said, I won't go into the details, but the deal that we have is anything 16 SEER and above. We don't sell a lot of 14 SEER stuff. That's the only thing that would come where somebody gets a 3-year labor warranty, still a 10-year parts. Other than that, we have it figured in where everything has a 10-year parts and labor warranty. And I love it when you're at the table talking to somebody doing the sales process, and they look at you go over everything and they look at the price and they're like, well, how much more is it going to be for the warranty? And I'm like, oh, that's included in that price. And they're like, oh yeah. I'm like, here you go. Sign here. So yeah, I just, like you said, I want them to know that this is an investment. you're investing into us. So for me, it would be Beltway. You're joining the Beltway family. I want you to know that we're going to take care of you for the life of this system. At least the next 10 years, we're going to make sure that this whole thing is going to run smoothly. Everything's going to work the best it can. And I think that's what it gets down to. Like I always say, customers, they want to buy, they just don't want to be sold, so they just want people to be honest. And I think that's where that middle tier company, some of the big ones are kind of getting there, because they don't want the chuck in a truck guy, because they know that warranty doesn't mean anything, but they also don't want the one that's too big that, yes, they're going to give me everything, but I'm going to pay the kid's college fund to get it. So if you can be in that middle range and still provide value, I think you can destroy in that market no matter where you are in this country.
You make a good point. And before these products became more available to the middle tier or even the lower tier guy, you put out proposals, and most of the contractors, at least that we talk to, they want more installs, right? That's their goal. They want more work. And it's less about, hey, how much markup can I get on this product? It's more about, listen, I want that bid to close ratio to get better, right? Because you improve that, you double that ratio, that's a lot of money, right? And, you're paying for those guys to put those estimates down. They don't happen on their own. You got to roll a truck, you got to inspect the system, you got to do the sales process, and this just it gives people that don't want to go and they're not big enough to do it themselves, right? It gives them the ability to be at the same level as those big guys, right? They can really shine. They can say, yeah, we got it covered, and this is the way we do it. Even if something were to happen to us, the company's got you covered, right? They're in good hands. And before companies like us came around, it was hard to do, or it was impossible, right? Especially depending on what state you're in and what the laws are there. It was close to impossible, right? With next to being an insurance company. So it really gives it allows you to have the conversation of, listen, I'm here for the long term, right? And it's not just me telling you I'm here for the long term. I'm putting in writing. I built my product around the fact that I'm here for the long term, right? And you couldn't do that before, where now you can.
Yeah, well, one of the other things when I talk to contractors, I'm saying, also what you're doing is you're basically locking in your customer for the term of that agreement. So if you're providing a 10-year agreement, if something goes wrong, they're contacting you. It isn't if, after 1 year, all of a sudden they're in the yellow pages, or you can tell I'm old, or they're looking online for a new contractor. Okay. So you're locking in the customer for the 10 years. And with our product, basically, if, it's transferable, if the homeowner sells their home, they can basically take it, and the new homeowner can pay a small administrative fee, and it basically transfers to the new homeowner, which all of a sudden this product, when you're selling a home, becomes an asset. Yep. Because a lot of people are looking, and they're looking at the major mechanical systems, and you got a system that's 8 years old, even though that's not that old. And someone's going, well, it's 8 years old, or I don't know if it's going to last or whatever. And all of a sudden you can say, hey, I have a warranty here. All you have to do is transfer it, and you're covered. And it takes away one of the objections of a home sale.
Yeah, it definitely does, because the sad part is, people buy these stupid home warranties. That's a whole nother podcast that we won't go down that rabbit hole either. But people get screwed in those deals. But something like this, that would be, yeah. If I was going to buy a house, I would buy one if I could find it. That would be a huge selling point. Oh, hey, I got this, 10-year parts and labor warranty. We're only in year 3, so you transfer it over, you still have 7 years. It's like, oh, well, that's amazing. I definitely do that. So, I think most of the listeners and the viewers understand, they should, I hope they do, understand the benefits of why, we should be offering it, why a homeowner should have it. What are some of the benefits that you guys do, that you give to these contractors, that makes them want to offer these warranties, that it doesn't turn into like a pain in the ass or a headache?
You know what?
I'll let you run with it.
I was going to say, why don't we take a step back? Are you sure that everyone knows what we're talking about? Should we do a quick little overview of how these products work, Gil, or should we just step into
You know what? Actually, yeah, you're right. We should cover that.
Yeah, so the way the product works is typically the brands out there, you get 10-year parts, and the labor, if a repair is needed during that 10 years, is not covered. So you're gonna go to the home, you're gonna make the repair, you're gonna bill them. And what this product allows you to do is to offer coverage for the labor. So what happens transactionally, if you were to include, let's say, a 10-year labor extended service agreement is the actual name of them. Extended warranties is a street name, but they're called ESAs. So if you were to include a 10-year extended warranty with your install, what would happen is you would go to the home on year 3 to change out that compressor, and all you do exactly as if you were just doing a service call, and you'd get a work order signed by your customer that you did the work, and then you would bill a company like us you would file a claim, and then we would pay you for that. The customer would not have to worry about digging in their pocket. There's no deductible. There's no pre-approvals. There's just, you're doing your work, and instead of the customer paying, we pay you for that. And that's how the product kind of works from a logistics standpoint. Now, every market has different labor reimbursement rates. So, we offer a variety of rates. You can go from 75 all the way up to 150, depending on what your market looks like. And then the program per hour. Yes.
Yeah, just so everybody knows. He says that per hour, just so you know.
Yeah, that's a good point. It's a good point.
Yeah. And then, it's a function of two things. So it's the number of hours you get for the repair, and obviously the hourly rate that you get. So that's all kind of laid out in a program guide, which kind of typically companies like us will say, hey, you do this repair, you get in this many hours. This is what we're paying you per hour. And that's something you have to look at as somebody's making a decision on which way to go, whether you're going with a manufacturer, whether you're going with a third party like us, is to find out, what does that actually look like? And I think the question you always need to ask is, well, listen, you got this hocus pocus here. You got labor rates, you got parts allowance, you say you cover refrigerant. How much money do I get when I change out a compressor, right? How much money do I get when I change a capacitor, right? And then you have your high and low, the simple repair, the high repair, and then whether that fits into your business model. If they're saying, oh, we pay $125 an hour, and then you do the math and you end up with $500 for a compressor, you're like, how does that work? Like, what do you think you can change a compressor out in an hour or two? Or, how's the math work on your end? So it's good for the contractor when they're having these conversations to say, hey, what am I going to get for this? Right. And then that way, exactly what you're looking at from a reimbursement standpoint, not just an hourly rate, but what is the money in hand for a repair. So that's kind of how the product works. Rich, if you want to add to that.
Just a couple little things, with our product too, with the labor rate, you can pick different, on one job, you could pick $100 an hour labor rate. Maybe on another, you would go to $150 if that client is farther away from your home base, or if you're doing commercial. And I used to be in the field. So, if you've got to go to an airport or to a government facility and you're going to get tied up in security for 45 minutes while they scan your truck, all of a sudden, if you pick a higher labor rate, that is basically going to make up for that time you have to spend there. So it's the program we offer. You can not just pick a labor rate overall. You could vary it from job to job. And that's one of the nice little, tweaks that we have.
Yeah, we have one of our people in the watching says our market labor rate is popping around $300 an hour and up. $150 an hour does not even pay for putting the key in the ignition. He said, because we're talking about San Francisco, and I guess the rates are going crazy. So we get it that different markets are going to be crazy. So,
and we work to accommodate. So if a contractor is in a niche like San Francisco or downtown New York, we don't have a box that you have to fit in. You're looking for $300 an hour. We'll make it work.
Yeah, that's huge, guys. And just think about it, what we do, man. As far as I know, a lot of people think that, warranties are a pain in the butt. You're not making money and stuff like that. But these companies are sitting here telling you that you are making money. Think about some of your younger technicians, you know, it used to be you go into install, then guys go into service. Some guys don't want to do install. Those guys starting out that they're decent techs, but they're not like senior guys. They're awesome warranty guys. They love being on their own. They love getting out there to do stuff. You know, and they can be dedicated warranty guys, and they start to become an asset to your company. They're doing those things. They have their role. They're a role player. They're out there getting to those customers quick, fast, and in a hurry who just spent thousands of dollars with you. Because most people, it's, oh, I already got your money. You know, we talked about this off air. I got these 4 no AC calls. We're going to go do them, and then we'll go do the warranty call. You know, so you could change the way you do business when you have this kind of warranty stuff. And I think if you're not doing it, I think you're going to get left behind. If your company is trying to grow, you're going to get left behind. I really think so. I could be wrong. I'm wrong about a lot of things. I just think that old business model is not. It's not going to work, or at least it's not going to work where I am. You know, and I'm Baltimore, DC is not a huge market, not as big as some others, but it's big enough.
You know, one of the things, and I mean, in different, not to make it sound too salesy, but you know, if you take a look, a lot of the products, the way we structure the products, we pay a trip charge and diagnostic. We have a labor allowance for the repair, and then anytime you open the seal system, we pay an additional hour for the recovery and the recharge. So, you know, there are things built in, and I could give you, you know, actual hours example. Normally for a residential compressor, we basically pay 4 hours plus that 1 hour trip charge and 1 hour for the recovery and the recharge. So just plug your dollar amount times 6, and there you would have your reimbursement.
See, and that's what's also when it's realistic. Sorry, Gus, because some of those ones that do it, yes, they pay you back, but they're like, oh, we'll pay you 2 hours to do a compressor.
Right.
Okay. Can some of us do it in 2 hours? Yeah. Should we do it in 2 hours? Probably not, you know, because it's a time-taking process. So it's awesome to hear that you guys do that. You give people time. They're getting paid properly. They're getting paid properly, and they're able to have the time to do the job properly.
Yeah, because that's the key. I mean, the job should be done well, or you're just planting the seeds for another problem in the near future.
Yeah.
And one of the things we talked about off air, you know, one of the things our company does is all of us have pretty much worked in the field. So we have a good idea of what a labor allowance should be. You know, so.
Yeah, and that's good. And I mean, and one thing that we never mind, I had a brain fart. Forgot what I was going to say there. But I know we cut you off, Gus. I'm sorry. What were you going to say, bud?
You know what? I was going to say, Rich, you forgot about the parts allowance. So you not only get the 6 hours, you get another $35 per. So anyways, you know what? There's just two things I want to, one's the overall idea. So when a contractor looks at this and says, I don't think there's value there. I mean, look at the equipment you install. You wouldn't go online and buy a brand that gives you 1 year, right? You buy the one that gives you 10-year parts I'm talking about. Because, hey, if they give you 10 years parts, the assumption is, you know, at least as you proceed, it's a better brand. The one that's giving me 1 is probably not as good as the one that's giving me 10. And that might not be true. The one giving you 1 might be better than the one giving you 10. But in your eyes, in the eyes of the consumer, it's just, well, they're giving me 10. They're not doing it for fun, right? You know, they don't want to be paying claims, all that. So the perception by the homeowner and even the contractor themselves is to go for the one with 10 years. So they've made an argument that they should that they'd only buy something with 10 years. So they're the best, I guess. They're the best person they should look at when they think whether or not they should offer 10 years to their customers as far as labor, right? The other thing is, I mean, you look at these, I want to mention them, but a lot of these automobile brands, I know some that didn't even exist before they did the 10-year or 5-year, 60,000 miles warranty when they changed it from 5 to 10 years.
I was going to say the same thing. Hyundai, the 100,000 miles, 10-year warranty, they came on, popped onto the market. Now they're almost a luxury car brand.
Exactly. Actually, that's the one.
And they used the warranty to penetrate the American market.
They did, and it worked perfect. I mean, now, like at first it was, they're that cheap car, but it has a great warranty, and all of a sudden they got nicer and nicer. Now, if one's parked next to a Mercedes, you can't tell the difference.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Yeah.
I mean,
It was 263%, Gil, just to kind of give you an idea with the change in market share within just the year they switched.
man,
So they went from 1.1% of the market to 4% of the market, just like that.
wow.
They didn't do. I mean, obviously they may have improved the quality of the car, and that's an opinion, but I mean, bam. I mean, that was a deciding factor. They were doing that year after year. As soon as they added this, I don't know what that cost them, and then how that plays out in the car market. But it works. It works from the standpoint of, listen, you can trust the car, because I mean, you're going to dish out whatever you're going to dish out for that car. In some markets, you're probably dishing out the same amount for an HVAC system, depending on what kind of house you have. And it's like, you know what? People want to know that car is going to run, right? Just like they want to know that their AC is going to run. So it's a powerful tool, right? It signals to the person that's getting it that you're a quality company to work with, because you're standing behind your product for a period of time, which is what the bigger companies, I mean, the psychology behind this is huge. Everyone's trying to do it. That's why the bigger companies, I'm sure Hyundai did their research and said, hey, this is the way we're going to do it. And I'm sure, companies that came before them, before they started off in the 60,000 miles, 5 year, it was probably no warranty, or 1 year, 2 year, whatever. And then they just kept going up. And that's what we found too. Some companies, they come with us with 5 years on everything. And then the other guy goes in with 5 years too. And now you're trying to one up them. So you go to 10, right? So it's really, what's the market look like, and how are you going to, stand out, right? How are you going to compete?
Yeah, and one thing I love that we talked about off air is, guys, we all know that getting equipment right now is a pain in the ass. It's only going to get worse come summertime. So maybe we are dedicated to a particular brand. We love Carrier, we love Train, we love Goodman, whatever your flavor, whatever you like. Well, this summer we're going to have to be able to capture the revenue. Like here in Maryland, I have 3 months. We have 3 months that we have to make or break it, because that determines whether we end the year in the red or the green. So those sales, we can prepare as much as we possibly can when it goes to processes, training, and stuff like that. But if those people that hold out till the last second, the hottest day, compressor dies, now they want to replace their system, and maybe the brand that I normally use, I can't get. Okay, I can't get a Train, but hey, I can get a Carrier. Well, with them, the warranty it's not brand specific. So you could still keep that same consistency on the brand, on the warranty that you offer, regardless of the brand that you sell. So that's something to think about. I thought it was huge when they told me that off air.
And to speak to that, take it a step further, making sure that, whoever you're going to work with, and even if you're working with a manufacturer's program, how easy is it for you to sell, right? To order, to pay, to file a claim. Making sure that the wheels are well oiled. So, the admin lady doesn't have to spend a whole day, punching in a claim, right? It's got to be simple. It's got to be upload the work order, pull up the agreement's already sitting there, it's in your portal, boom, upload it, submit it, done. You could do 20 of these a week, and not have to worry about, blocking off half a day, right? It has to be easy to use. Even on the sell side, when you got to sell these, and you sell 20 of these, you don't want to have to do all types of form filling out and emailing and who knows what, and picking up the phone. It's got to be an easy to use portal where you can just log in there, throw the information in, submit your order. And then also, depending on who some companies only do bank ACH, other ones will only do debit, making sure you can have the flexibility too, or you can use a credit card, right, if you need to, when you pay for these. That's also an added advantage that some companies offer. We happen to do that. So ease of use is important, right? Because time is time. You're buying time is what you're doing when you're working, and you got to make sure that time's put to good use. So you don't want to program that you're taking forever to do a claim or to process an order or whatever you might be doing. You want to make that as easy as possible.
Well, and I know we talked about this, and I know it's probably rare, so kind of a two-parter, whoever can answer. Say there is that person who legitimately does not take care of their system, they abuse it, and the warranty has to be voided. How does that process work? And the other thing is there a limit on the number of repairs? Like, say we get a lemon, we're in year 3, and we have 2 or 3 major repairs inside of that year. How does that work? Is there a limit on the number of repairs? Is it unlimited? How does that work?
Rich, why don't you take this one?
Well, number one, from a contracting point of view, what we're looking for is you want to get your customer on a PM program anyway, because for a number of reasons. I mean, from our warranty perspective, we want to make sure that the equipment's taken care of. If what we do, if the contractor is basically, our company, we have a strategic partnership with the contractor. And basically what's happening is if the contractor goes out there, they are our eyes and ears. Gus and I are not going to come to Baltimore to check out your install. What we're doing is this is a partnership.
Just kidding.
Well, there you go. So, ultimately the contractor is our eyes and ears. And, if they're going out and if, a compressor just died, okay. If the contractor goes out and they look at the condensing unit and it has a blanket of cottonwood on it, and that's what caused the compressor to burn out because it couldn't dissipate any heat, well, then there's a conversation to be had there. So, the goal is if something is totally blatant, that there was a total disregard for maintenance, our claims people will have a conversation with you. And if, like I said, if it's totally blatant, in all honesty, they would probably disallow the claim.
Well, and I also, and I know that that's rare because I feel like what we talked about earlier, those customers that value warranty aren't the same customers who would blatantly not take care of their system. So I know that's a rarity. I figured it was just worth asking the questions, because what does happen, how you have those lemons and, we have a warranty, like we provide some of the best warranties that we offer to our customers, in our area. I know for a fact because I've checked everybody's, but the one, if they have a lemon within the first 5 years, we will rip the system out and replace it for them. And if I have to eat that, then so be it. Because if we did our jobs properly, that shouldn't happen. If it does, then I need to go to the manufacturer, start beating on the desk like, hey, what the hell's going on? We know our guys are doing the proper practices. They're installing it the way that, the training, the manufacturer's training said to do it, and we're having these issues. So I was curious to how that worked. I mean, because I used to, and I'll be honest with you guys, I used to always worry about third-party warranties because I felt like the warranty company and the manufacturer, when something went wrong, it was like, well, it's not my fault, it's their fault, and like it was kind of like a blame game. And I've heard that with others. So that's why, like I told you guys, that we deal with, Goodman equipment. And I always like, because Goodman, the labor warranty that we get is from them. So I feel like they're backing their own product. But the downside, like I said, is if I can't get that, then I'm screwed. Now I can't offer that kind of coverage to my customers without, having to rape a customer and take the price totally out of the zone to be able to do it. So that's where I feel like if you have guys like you that are doing the warranty process correctly, it's beneficial to the customer and to the contractor. We need to be using stuff like this. We need to utilize, it's another tool in the toolbox.
Yeah.
So, so I think we covered all that stuff as far as the homeowner side and the hours. Is there anything that we think we didn't? I know I kind of went off script there. Is there anything that we missed?
I'm not sure that you missed anything. I think we did a pretty good job.
Yeah.
You know what?
I was going to skip.
Just,
so.
Just the other thing too. I mean, our company. Well, we also, we aren't limited to residential. I mean, we have products for light commercial. The OEM warranty on a light commercial system, even on a rooftop up to about 25 tons, is usually 1 year parts, 5 years on a compressor, and if it's a gas pack unit, 10 years on a heat exchanger. So, we can basically, depending on the size of the equipment, take that warranty and stretch it out to 5 years or 10 years. So we can do light commercial, we can do commercial refrigeration. For any contractors out there who are doing AC and refrigeration. So we have products that basically address those two. Water heaters, tankless hot water heaters. Most mini split manufacturers offer a really good parts warranty, especially like if you're one of their elite dealers. But without mentioning a couple names, a couple of the mini split guys offer 12 years of parts. We can offer a 12 years labor to match that. So, if what I'm saying is, it's not just in that 10-year box. We can do some different things, if you have a unique type of circumstance, or some of these aren't that unique. It's just, getting outside of the forced air equipment. We do boilers. So, yeah.
That's awesome. I'm actually glad that you said that, Mr. Rich, because I didn't even think about that side. There's a lot of times that when we go, do different things, that we do a water heater and being able to put a warranty on that as well. One thing I just thought of, so is it just like, say, like a lot of times we believe in selling the add-ons, the total process, whether it's an air cleaner or something like that. Is all of that stuff encompassed in the warranty, or is it just the legit equipment?
What we do with our product, and I have to speak specifically to what we do. So what we do is if you're doing a systemics installation, okay, whether that just be the HVAC side or the full side, if you're in an environment that you're getting heat also, if a new thermostat is installed at the time of the installation of that equipment, the thermostat is covered. Okay. If they leave the old thermostat, then obviously the old thermostat is not covered. But we do have coverages available for like electronic air cleaners and humidifiers and things like that. A lot of times those are standalone type coverages. And, a lot of times contractors, in all honesty, treat those as a consumable.
Yeah.
Here's the humidifier. It's going to cost you $550 if you get a good deal on it or whatever. I just had one replaced after it was 4 years old, and one of the switches on the inside just quit making. And, we looked at the price to replace the switch. It's like half the cost of the humidifier.
Yeah, it's crazy.
So at that point, some of those things are kind of viewed as consumables. But we do have coverages on some accessories.
Yeah. I just thought, I was thinking, I agree. I don't know unless a customer really kind of wanted it, if that's kind of an area I would push. I think the water heater's kind of big. That's a big one. And maybe, a media cabinet or electronic air cleaner, only because that's kind of a pain in the butt to change after the system's installed. But I mean, a humidifier can be installed at any time. Doesn't really matter. So I agree. That's definitely a consumable. But the water here is good because which is weird. It used to be, 6-year tank warranty, 6-year part warranty. You could up it to 10. And they used to give you a new anode rod. Now they just give you a sticker. I'm like, oh, so it's the same shitty water heater. I'm just giving you $150 for 4 more years. It's crazy.
And if you're looking at, the cost of a tankless water heater, I mean, the cost differential is substantial between a conventional tank water heater and a tankless system. And, hey, it'll put a warranty on that tankless system. That'd be a wise thing too.
Yeah. What are some of the warranties you do offer on some of the light commercial? Because we get a lot of people, we have good accounts that, I'm like, hey, it's 1 year. I mean, that's all the manufacturer gives. Even some of the residential equipment that's in a commercial
setting.
Yeah, it's 1 year.
Yeah. And like I said, I didn't mention to the audience here, but I used to work as a commercial account manager, and you're right. I mean, you go from single phase to a 3-phase piece of equipment, or you're using residential equipment in a quote light commercial office setting, a doctor's office or a hair salon. All of a sudden, to the OEM, that's a commercial setting.
Yep.
So that warranty reverts to a 1-year parts, 5-year compressor. And once again, probably a 10-year heat exchanger if you're in that climate. So, so ultimately what we could do with light commercial is, we basically can take those 5 years of parts and extend it out to 10 years and basically cover the labor for 10 years.
That's awesome.
So, yeah. And it's basically light commercial equipment, probably to about, 15, 20 tons on rooftops. Anything bigger than that, you're really kind of getting into the true commercial category. And then with the commercial equipment, our max would be 5 years.
Yeah, those big boys ain't buying for warranty. They're buying for other reasons. Yeah, so we had a couple of comments real fast before we move on. When we were talking about the units that are new having a problem, one of the viewers said, I'm on one of those right now as we speak. They just burnt up their 4th compressor, and now I'm called out to figure out the problem. And then, Kyle S. asked, what about zone controls and dampers? If it's a zone system, is that something that can be covered under a warranty?
Yeah, some companies do offer that. Not so much. There are coverages for that. What we would have to do personally, we kind of look at each situation individually. To take a look, how many zones you've got, if they're motorized dampers, different things like that. We have to look at it from the risk perspective to see what we're covering.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. I mean, and sometimes the zone dampers and controls, you start getting into that and it gets a little tricky because sadly there's a lot of it out there that's hacked up and it's doomed from the start.
Oh yeah, and once again, I was in the field, and you'd go up to a rooftop and you take a look at so much of the stuff that's hot wired, and you're passing safeties and controls and things like that. So yeah, it happens out there.
Yeah, it's
Phil,
Go ahead, Gus.
I want to touch on a few things. So we talked earlier about exclusion. So in addition to lack of proper maintenance, I just want to educate the audience here. So a few other things that are outside of coverage. So predictive failure is not covered. So if you were to go to your customer doing a PM and you see that capacitor, it's holding the charge, but not like it should, or it's taking a little bit, it's working a bit harder to get that that compressor going or whatever. It needs to fail for that claim to be filed. So you'd have to go back out there, let's say 6 months or a year or 3 years or whatever down the road, and then once that fails, then we cover it. So that's one thing that isn't covered. The other thing, acts of God aren't covered. So, if there's a flood, if there's a lightning strike, if, vandalism, if someone takes a baseball bat to your unit, usually your homeowner will cover that, the homeowner's insurance. But that's also not covered under the, under products like ours.
That makes sense. And I think that's pretty much across the board that most people don't. Yeah, that's wild. So I guess when it comes to, because I know most of the manufacturers are like that with the predictive stuff. So I know that kind of gets kind of hairy with homeowners because then it makes us like if we go out and we read it's a 45 microfarad capacitor that's reading 42. Do we say something? Do we not say something? Because the customer has that warranty and it's like, well, I'm not paying for that. It's like, oh, well, I can't replace it until it fails. I know that gets a touchy situation, but I also understand why warranty companies do that. I also understand why manufacturers do that. Because you also get those guys, oh, it's under warranty. Oh, well, I need an indoor board, an outdoor board, a blower motor. They start trying to rebuild the unit because they're not really technicians. They don't know how to diagnose a problem. So they just start throwing shit at the wall and see what sticks. So I understand both sides of that.
You got a nice comment here. It says, T-Tech says, so the capacitor is failing on the compressor and wait for the capacitor to fail and possibly burn up the compressor. So you're replacing both compressor next time. Is that how it works?
Yeah, well, I mean, I guess from a tech point, I do get what he's saying, Yeah. So, and that's something that we still, and to be honest, if in our situation at the company that I work for, if we had a company, I mean, a customer who had a 10-year parts and labor warranty, they had a maintenance contract with us, and I saw something like that was weak, I would just change it. I mean, I'm just being honest. I would tell my guys, just change the capacitor. Costs $15, and you know what I mean. It's not a huge deal. And that's one of the only parts that we're going to most of the time have the predictive failure kind of thing on. You know, a compressor, you're not changing until it fails, or it stops doing what it's supposed to do. There's most of the parts that we're going to have that predictive issue. They're not really that expensive. Yeah, well, we like to charge retail and get paid more for them, but I think it's going to be few and far between, though.
Yeah, and not to mention, I mean, if you look at the overall relationship, doing what's right by them is probably the best thing to do. What you described, Gil. I mean, yes, the product's there. It guards from, you know, just about any mechanical failure that could happen. And if you see something like that, it's just, if you think it's in the best interest of the homeowner, and, you know, yeah, it's $15. You know, I'm not saying $15 is nothing, but it's $15, you know, in the relationship, what's that worth? Right. And what's that going to, you know, you can even ask for, you know, listen, I know this isn't, I can't, the warranty's not going to cover it, but we're going to cover it. You know, you know, asking for a review or asking for, hey, you know, a referral or whatever, right? You know, once you bring that to the attention of the homeowner, that can go a long way. But it's really, like I said, it's really, you know, everyone does things their way. And, you know, if that compressor were to blow, then yeah, it's covered, you know, even if you saw that, but I've seen compressors on their last leg, be on their last leg for 4 years. You know, it's like, especially in the commercial space. I mean, I grew up in the restaurants, and we, you know, they would come to us and say, this thing's going to blow next week. You know, 4 years later, that air conditioner is still working. And I'm not saying didn't look like, all the signs didn't look like it would blow. It's just, you know, sometimes you just never know. And that's why the insurance company, which is where the way it works is, you know, we work with an insurance company to hold that money. You know, we don't keep that money in our account. So the risk is held there. And in order for you to be able to pull that money out, it's reserved for failures. So you start to really draw a gray line in what a failure is, and you start to go into predictive, you know, that just makes the product doesn't work, right, from a risk standpoint. So that's just how the products are built.
No, that makes sense. I mean, and really, even if you have say something, well, real fast, I wanted to say, compressors don't die; they're killed. That's just, I'll always feel that way. They're made to run. If they die, something killed them. Normally, we replace them, and the equipment gets replaced before we ever have to do it again. But really, you should turn to detectives and figure out what killed it, first and foremost. But second of all, I mean, really, and not to, you know, sound like grummy when I say this, but per manufacturer's, you know, like specs, if say the capacitor, like everybody's saying, is supposed to be 45 and it's 40, that's really not, that's bad. I mean, that really, even though it's still doing something, it's not working. And when the rep, well, I guess I don't want to say that, because I don't want to, you know, start telling guys to be dishonest and stuff like that. If that situation happened, just give them the goddamn capacitor. Like I said, as long as it's not one of those turbo ones that cost $100. So they're nice to have on the truck every once in a while. Other than that, I'll give them the $15 jobs. But yeah, no. So, well, I guess let's say this: if there's a company owner out there that is looking to get involved with, you know, with Trinity, looking to get more information, where should I send them? Where should they go?
Our website is trinitywarranty.com. So you'll be able to find all the information you might need about us there. There's 10 different ways to get in touch with us. So whether it's with a quote or enroll, telephone number, whatever you need, you'll be able to find us. So trinitywarranty.com.
Cool. What does it take for a company to sign up? Because I ask this because I've heard some companies have to, like, put so much money down on different things. It's not per. So without going into incredible detail, what's that process like?
It's super simple. Super simple. All you'll need is a W-9 so we can pay you if you submit a claim. You need to add us as additionally insured on your certificate of insurance, which shouldn't cost you anything and usually happens within a phone call. You can get that done in just a few hours. And you just fill out a form online. It's a one-page form, tax ID and contact information, and then those two documents, and you're done. You're enrolled. There's no cost to enroll. There's no threshold as far as how many trucks you have or what you're doing. As long as you're incorporated, you have a W-9 and you have a certificate of insurance that you can add us on, then you're up and running. You register your account, you can offer these products.
That's awesome. Yeah, that's pretty simple. So everybody, I strongly recommend that you guys, check it out. If you're not offering some kind of warranties like this, or even if you're doing it through your manufacturer, price check, see what they offer, compare it, make sure that you're getting the most bang for your buck and you're providing the best product that you actually can to your customer. At the same time, you guys are making money. Let's be honest. We all love the customer service. I mean, we can sit here and beat our chest on that, which we all want to do. But at the end of the day, we all go to work to make money. We all have businesses to make money. At the end of the day, that's why we do it. We have to be profitable. If we're not profitable, the doors close and warranties, the least of your fucking worries. So that's the truth, though. Sadly, that's the truth. So it's just something to think about. Yeah, guys, this has been awesome. Is there anything you guys? I mean, we still have a little bit of time. Is there anything that we didn't cover you guys would like to throw out there? Or?
I don't know. I think
we've done a pretty thorough job. I mean, unless you've got some questions that are popping up or whatever, it's yeah.
Yeah. No,
the only thing I would say is like you said, price checking. Just make sure when you're talking about price checking, find out exactly what the money in your pocket's going to be. Because some people they add refrigerant, some people throw a bunch of different things as far as what they're going to give you. But at the end of the day, you're going to say, listen, I'm changing out a compressor. What am I getting in hand? What am I going to get for that compressor change out? So exactly, what you're getting and what you're paying for. And a few other things. So one more thing I was going to say, there's a lot of different ways to take this product. So some customers, when they incorporate, obviously the higher reimbursement rate you take, the higher the cost of the extended coverage, right? So the lower the reimbursement rate, the lower the coverage. So some contractors I've seen, they say, listen, guys, we know that risk of going back and making repairs low, right? So we need someone like you to help us get coverage because we can't cover it ourselves, and say that we are covered for 10 years or we offer 10 years guarantee or however they phrase it. But we want to be the ones making that margin. So they'll go with a lower reimbursement rate and they'll make that margin on the sale rather than wait for the repair claim to come in. And they say, hey, we don't get many of these anyway. So I want to make an extra 300, 400, whatever it costs me for the higher coverage on every sale, right? And that's the way I do business. And then there's the other ones that say, man, I want to preserve my cash flows, 6 years out, right? I don't want to be stuck with this reimbursement rate. Next thing you know, inflation is where it is and I'm getting paid nothing to do this work. So there's no wrong way to do this. Every contractor has their own business mind. And I'm not saying which one's right and which is wrong. And that's why it's important to make sure that you have that flexibility to be able to choose, hey, this is how I want to do things. This is how I want to make how I want to build my product, and this is how I want to make sure that I'm making money, and we'll work with you. And the other thing is we're flexible. A lot of these guys, especially some of the OEMs, hey, you got this box, and if you don't fit exactly in there, I'm sorry. That's just how it is. Where if you come to us, especially with commercial, you come to us with a unique situation. We'll take care of it. We'll do what we can to make sure that you have what you need to get to the next level, right? If you want to get from 25 tons, you want to start doing bigger jobs, you want to get up to 50, we'll make it happen, right? So that's something that we try to do. And we also offer, and again, maybe a lot of the other guys do, we do offer a lot of support. So it's one thing to say you offer a 10-year warranty. It's another thing to sit in front of your homeowner and go through all the different things that are covered, right? Put that value in front of them, not just the cost that you have as far as, whatever you're providing. If you're a few $100 more, you want to make sure we do a good job of making sure we give the contractor the tools to stack that value when they're at that, kitchen table with the homeowner. And that's important because, what you're getting, there's value there. And if you put it in front of the homeowner the right way, they're going to see that value, and then you're going to get that business, even if it costs them a little bit more, because the perceived value of the product over the cost, at least in the studies that we've seen, it's there. I mean, people are the cost of a warranty on a HVAC system sometimes is no more than what you're paying for that iPhone coverage, and you got, it's, what's it? It's a $15,000, $20,000 piece of equipment sometimes. And, your phone, I mean, they're getting expensive, but they're nowhere near that. Right.
Well, and let's also think that not to get into economy and stuff like that, but a recession is coming. When it doesn't, it's not when. I mean, well, it's not if, it's when it's going to happen. Warranty work might be some of the work that keeps you guys afloat. You know what I mean? I hate to say it that way, but you have to be prepared by all avenues. Just like people say when it comes to wealth, it's multiple revenue streams. So install, service, warranty, you got to think about all that. When the warranty companies pay you, is it 30, 60? You get paid in 90 days. You know what I mean? Like all those things come into play when you're choosing somebody. So you guys out there, and even if you're with a supply house, like or a certain company, you should always, business is business, okay? You can be great friends with them. You should still be checking, holding them accountable as far as what they do. I know I've been selling this brand for 10 years and they've been giving me this warranty for this price for this long. Okay, well, maybe you're paying this much for the warranty and you call somebody like Trinity and you're getting a better warranty for half the cost. Business is business. Hold everybody accountable. Profit margins are profit margins. We all got numbers to meet. We all got KPIs to track. It's all those little things have to be, you have to think about all that kind of little stuff. And I think a lot of people, they look over it. They get caught in that vicious cycle of this business and, oh, well, that's working. Don't worry about it. Okay, is it working good? Is it working properly? You got to keep always checking it. And that's the sad part about this. And it's why a lot of people don't last, in this industry. It's why most of the ones that are opening up, a lot of them close. You just don't hear about them. So, guys, take all the resources possible. Go ahead.
I was going to throw in one other thing. Sometimes companies kind of get set in their ways, and they look at something, they go, "Well, we've never done this before. I don't believe in it." I would challenge you when you're out sitting in front of a homeowner, say, "Hey, if I had this warranty product, and would you be interested?" Number one. And number two, if you're with a bigger company, I remember sitting in a lot of tech and salespeople meetings, and they'd roll out a new product, and half of the guys are busy rolling their eyes. They're there for the guy who brought the donuts. And so, if you're a bigger company, the guys you're sending out there to sell, make sure that they know what they're selling and make sure they can explain the value proposition to the homeowner. Instead of saying, "Oh, by the way, we got this extended warranty. Are you interested?" Okay, that's what I thought.
Oh, yeah.
So what you want to do is, go out there and talk to folks. See, like I had mentioned before, we are trained by our electronics industry, with iPhones, with laptops, that everybody is saying, "Yeah, I'll take that." And I think we're missing an opportunity if you're not doing that when you're selling a system.
I agree. Or at least, like I said, if you're not going to be like somebody like us who just adds that in there and that's just what makes us different, at least give the customer the option. If they say they don't want to do it, so be it. Don't say no for them. I just think that it's not smart. And we talk about different, whether it's warranty or different things that we talk about every week, guys. It's all about, staying ahead of the curve. A lot of things change in our industry, whether we like it or not. Whether it's seeing systems online, whatever it is, we can't sit around and bitch about it. We have to try to find ways to maneuver around it, make the best of it, make it work for us. And I think warranty is one of those things that I know in my physical location. And because of this podcast, I get to talk to a lot of amazing business owners all across the country, all different sizes. And I know some of them feel different ways about warranty, but all of them offer it though. Every single one, they just use it in their own little way, their own little quirk. So if it's something you're not doing, you should definitely look into. Guys, I won't keep you guys too much longer. I thank you so much for coming on. I think this is amazing. If there's any way that I can help Trinity Warranties, get people to you guys or whatever it is, please let me know. I'll make sure that I put the links in this description so people can find you and they can tell you that Gil, that bald guy from Uncensored. Yeah, I cover up the beast most of the time, but yeah. And if anything ever happens, anything changes, you guys launch out something new or groundbreaking, you got to come back on. Please email me, and don't worry, the computer won't break again. If this one breaks, I might just be done podcasting. Just call it a day because it's bad juju. But yeah, you guys are welcome on anytime you ever want to come on.
Well, thanks,
Well,
Gil.
thank you. You've been great, and we really appreciate the opportunity to come on here and talk a bit. So I appreciate your podcast too. You've done some. You really tell it like it is, and you really kind of put. You're really real about the stuff you talk about, and that's nice.
Thank you. I always figured if I have to change who I am to do a podcast, I shouldn't do it. I just try to filter through the bullshit. I really do just want to give back to a trade that's been so good to me. I'm second generation. My dad did this, and it's just I live a good life, and I'm in a good place with a wife and 4 kids, and I'm able to do the things that I'm able to do because of this trade. Because I tell these people, if you can make out of this industry, like this trade has made more millionaires than you would believe. It's what you do with it. If you're fine a 9 to 5 being that tech who doesn't do much, then that's all you're gonna have. Go ahead, Mr. Rich.
And you know what's crazy? They're silent millionaires.
Exactly.
You
Exactly.
know, people that fly under the radar.
Yeah, I mean, you see these companies, selling for, 10, 15, 30, 40, 60, 70 million dollars. I mean, and to be honest, some of these guys are starting their business with selling it as the end game. And you know what? I don't hate on them. I mean, good for them. If that's what they want to do. Some people don't want to leave it to their kids. This is an avenue that they're using to get their success, to build their wealth and move on. Whatever you want to do. I always tell, when you get in this industry or any industry, you should have an end game. What do you want to be? Do you want to be an owner at some point? Do you want to be a management? You want to be a technical trainer? Because who the hell wants to be 50 years old climbing in fucking attics? I didn't. So I made sure that I did everything I had to do to not be that guy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
One more thing, Gil. In case you have any listeners that are going to school or going to be going into school for the trades, we're going to be launching a scholarship program starting next month. So at Trinity Warranty, you're going to be able to apply for a scholarship. So we're supporting the industry in that way. There's an application process you fill out, and then we pick 4, at least we pick a certain amount of candidates that will get a $2,000 scholarship, and we do that every year.
That's awesome. Does that go it can go to any trade school, particular
Any
trade school?
Yeah, any trade school, as long as you're focused on HVAC or refrigeration. That's what the education's in. Then it's open to you.
That's awesome.
Details will be fine on the page, so you'll be able to get all the details at trinitywarranty.com.
All right. Well, if you win that contest, before you pick a trade school, check out my trade school podcast so you know which ones to choose, because some are great, some suck. But 2 that I highly recommend are the Perfect Technician Academy in Texas and the Ultimate Tech Academy in Arkansas. 2 highly, highly prestigious schools that we send. Smacking microphone. That we send our technicians to. So we've done a whole podcast on trade school, but that is awesome that you guys do that to give back. People always say the younger guys aren't coming into the trades. Well, when they do, we can't be treating them like shit. You know what I mean? I understand they got to work their way up, but you look at some of the Facebook groups and it's like, oh my God, your install looks like shit. You should go kill yourself. And I'm like, oh, well, no wonder he goes to work somewhere else. Like, what are we doing, people? But I'll sit here and keep beating a dead horse. Thank you guys very much. Thank you for what you do. Definitely, please, let's stay in touch. And thank you. And I really do, like I said, I appreciate you guys working through the downtime, because normally this podcast is every week like clockwork. We're in a rhythm, so being down for a week or 2 kind of threw me out of my rhythm. So I really, really do appreciate you guys being so cool about working through that. Thank you very much.
Thank you too, Gil.
All right.
Here.
All right.
Have a good night. God bless you.
Yep. Thank you, guys. I'm going to go ahead and close this out.
All right.
All right, everybody. Thank you so much, man. We're finally getting back into the groove of things. Thank you guys that you're all coming out to watch. Everybody that was in the chat. So, Mr. Zeke, Mr. Kraus, I see Mr. Hughes, man. What's up, brother? T-Tech, Kyle S., Make sure I don't miss anybody. They're all in there. My buddy Tersh, Service Business Mastery Podcast, Mr. Isaiah. Thank you guys for supporting. Back on the regularly scheduled time. We're here every Wednesday, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Audio podcast that comes out every Monday, 9 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. So we're back on track. I thank you guys. This was a great podcast, man. I think warranty is something that you all need to think about. I know some of you are technicians. It's not really your job, or it's not really your place to be able to look into it. But if you're a business owner, a manager, this is something you need to be looking into. I promise you, especially with where we're going this summer, not being able to get equipment. If it's that biggest thing that I just said is it can be on every single brand, you're filing your warranty with one company versus Trane, Carrier, Goodman, Lennox, whoever it is that you use, especially if it's multiple companies. Obviously, you guys know if I can help you in any way, hit me up. I will always help you in any way that I can. HVAC Uncensored at gmail.com. You can direct message me on all the major social media apps, whether it's Instagram, Facebook, whatever. Join the Facebook group. And yeah, guys, remember, be safe out there, man. We all got to make it home the same way that we left. Do the little things. Set yourself apart from the next guy, all right? Don't be a shitbag. If you go out there and you worry about the customer, and every customer you go to, you try to change their life, one life at a time. Do the best possible job that you can do for them, you will always make out in the long run. Because when you worry about doing a good job, you end up making more money. When you go out there and you worry about making money, guess what? You don't make any of it. All right? Until next week, I love you mofos. Stay safe out there, and I'll talk with you later. Peace.
Thanks for listening to the HVAC Uncensored Podcast. Don't forget to check us out on Facebook and Instagram, or email us anytime at hvacuncensored@gmail.com. Now, get back to work. Shut this down. The views and opinions shared on the HVAC Uncensored Podcast may not necessarily be the views and opinions